Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a trip back in time, but not with a DeLorean. No, we're hopping into a time machine powered by receipts and nostalgia. We're going grocery shopping, but the year is 1990. The mission? To see just how far $50 could get you back then. Now, you might be thinking, wow, $50 in 1990? That must have been a fortune. Well, stick around, because the results are, well, the title says it's depressing, and it might just change how you look at your grocery bill today. Before we dive in, let's set the scene. 1990. The internet was just a baby. Cell phones were the size of bricks, and your favorite songs were on cassette tapes. The average annual income in the United States was around $28,000. So, $50 was a significant chunk of a weekly budget for many families. It wasn't just pocket change. It was meant to fill the fridge and the pantry. So I've done my homework. I've scoured old newspaper ads, inflation calculators, and government consumer price indexes to create a realistic 1990s grocery list. Our goal is to buy a week's worth of staples for a small family. We're talking basics: milk, bread, eggs, some meat, fruits, veggies, and maybe a few pantry items. No fancy organic kale or imported cheeses on this trip. Let's grab our virtual shopping cart and hit the aisles. First stop, the dairy section. A gallon of milk in 1990 cost, on average, about $2.78. Let's grab one of those. Next, eggs. A dozen large eggs would set you back about $1.01. So far, so good, right? We're at $3.79. Let's also grab a pound of butter, which was about $1.91. And of course, we need cheese. An 8-ounce block of good old cheddar cheese was roughly $2.31. Our dairy total is $8.02. We've barely started, and we're already almost $10 in. All right, let's head over to the bakery and bread aisle. A standard loaf of white bread cost about 75 cents. Let's get 2 loaves for the week. That's $1.50. Seems incredibly cheap, doesn't it? Adding that to our running total, we're now at $9.52. We're still feeling pretty confident with our $50 bill. Now for the protein. This is where things start to get interesting. Let's head to the meat counter. A pound of ground beef, a staple for things like spaghetti, tacos, or burgers, was about $1.99. Let's get 2 pounds of that. So that's $3.98. We're also going to need some chicken. A whole frying chicken, weighing around 3 pounds, would cost about $1.04 per pound. So, let's say that's $3.12 for the chicken. Now, what about some lunch meat? A pound of sliced bologna, a lunchbox classic of the era, was about $2.24. Our meat total comes to $9.34. Adding that to our cart, our grand total is now $18.86. We're still under $20, and we've got milk, eggs, cheese, bread, and a decent amount of meat. Not bad. Okay, let's wheel our cart over to the produce section. We need our fruits and veggies. Let's start with potatoes, a super versatile staple. A 5-pound bag of potatoes cost about $1.47. We'll definitely grab that. How about some onions? A pound of yellow onions was around 44 cents. Yes, 44 cents. We'll take 2 pounds. That's 88 cents. Let's get some lettuce for salads and sandwiches. A head of iceberg lettuce was about 89 cents. And tomatoes. A pound of tomatoes was around 98 cents. Let's get 2 pounds. That's $1.96. Now for the fruit. Bananas were a pretty good deal, at about 41 cents per pound. Let's get 3 pounds. That's $1.23. Apples were also a staple. A pound of red delicious apples, a very popular variety back then, was about 87 cents. Let's grab a 3-pound bag, so that's $2.61. and maybe some oranges for juice and snacks. A pound of navel oranges was about 62 cents. We'll get 3 pounds of those, costing $1.86. Our total for produce is $9.90. Let's add that up. Our running total is now $28.76. We've still got over $20 left. Feeling rich, aren't we? But wait. A family can't live on meat and produce alone. We need to stock the pantry. This is where the budget can disappear quickly. First, a breakfast staple, cereal. A standard-sized box of corn flakes was about $2.36. Let's put that in the cart. We'll need coffee to get through the week. A 1-pound can of coffee was around $3.58. How about some sugar to go in that coffee? A 5-pound bag of white sugar was $2.19. We'll need some pasta for that ground beef. A 1-pound box of spaghetti was about 83 cents. And you can't have spaghetti without sauce. A 24-ounce jar of pasta sauce was about $1.49. Let's keep going. We'll need some oil for cooking. A 48-ounce bottle of vegetable oil was about $2.10. And let's not forget the quintessential 90s kid lunch, peanut butter and jelly. A jar of peanut butter was about $2.97, and a jar of grape jelly was $1.62. Just these few pantry items have added $19.14 to our bill. Our new grand total is $47.90. Whoa, hold on. Let's look at our cart. We have $47.90 worth of groceries. We have just $2.10 left from our original $50. $2. What are we missing? Well, a lot. We don't have any juice, besides the oranges we can squeeze ourselves. No soda. No snacks like chips or cookies. We don't have any cleaning supplies, no paper towels, no toilet paper, no soap, no laundry detergent. We don't have any personal care items like shampoo or toothpaste. All those things would have to come from a separate budget. That $2.10 left over, it might buy you a couple of candy bars at the checkout, but that's about it. So let's really process this. For $50 in 1990, you could get the absolute basics to feed a family for a week. We got milk, eggs, butter, cheese, bread, ground beef, a whole chicken, some lunch meat, potatoes, onions, lettuce, tomatoes, bananas, apples, and oranges. For the pantry, we got cereal, coffee, sugar, pasta, sauce, oil, peanut butter, and jelly. It's a solid haul of core ingredients, no doubt. You could definitely make meals out of this. You could have spaghetti, roast chicken with potatoes, burgers, sandwiches, and eggs for breakfast. But here's the depressing part from the title. This wasn't a shopping spree. This was careful, planned out, basic shopping. And it used up the entire $50 budget. For many families, this was. There wasn't much, if any, room for treats, convenience foods, or brand name items. Imagine trying to do this today. To buy this exact same list of groceries in 2024, you'd be looking at a bill of around $140 to $160, depending on where you live and what brands you buy. That's roughly triple the cost. This really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? When we complain about a $200 grocery bill today, we're often walking out with a lot more than what's in our 1990 cart. We have specialty items, organic produce, a variety of snacks, drinks, pre-made meals, and household goods. Our $50 budget for 1990 barely covered the food, and it was a tight squeeze at that. What this trip back in time shows us is the immense impact of inflation on our daily lives, especially on non-negotiable costs like food. While wages have gone up since 1990, for many people, they haven't kept pace with the rising cost of living. That $50 bill just doesn't have the same power it once did. It's a stark reminder that while we have more choices and convenience today, the pressure on our wallets is very, very real. It makes you appreciate the struggles and the smart budgeting our parents or grandparents had to do every single week just to put food on the table. So, what do you think? Are you surprised by what $50 could get you in 1990? Does it seem like a lot or less than you expected? Let me know your thoughts and your own memories of grocery prices from back in the day in the comments below. It's always fascinating to hear your stories. Thanks so much for joining me on this little trip to the past. If you found this interesting, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.